Sergeant Adams awoke in the late hours of dusk on a barren spot of what once was a battlefield. Having lost his orientation, he went to search for his regiment, but there was nobody to be seen or heard. The Confederate army had disappeared without a trace. In front of him was nothing but a deserted battlefield sprinkled with dead bodies. Adams took a moment to gather his thoughts. Could he have been unconscious the whole time as his force retreated? Adams scratched his head. He remembered pain and hitting the hard ground, yet upon examining himself he could see no blood, nor feel any wound. He didn't feel hungry either, he realized, which was quite unusual, for he had not eaten in a while. A fresh wind blew towards him, but the soldier didn't even shudder. Looking around, he noticed that only Confederate bodies were lying unburied. The dead men in blue had all vanished. Anger rose in him at the sight. How could they deny his brothers their deserved rest? Why would men differentiate between one and the other on their manner of how they cared for the dead, based on their earthly perceptions? Didn't the Lord declare all men of equal worth, even if to the Yankees they were just rebels? Further away he thought to see some human figure, probably Union soldiers, but he didn't care. He would be damned if he left without burying those dead soldiers. As he came closer, he recognized something that might indeed have been a blue uniform. His hands went to his musket, but gripped nothing but empty air. I must have lost my weapon, he thought. The memory of losing his gun, however, didn't come back to him. Too upset to ponder on missing fragments of his mind, he prepared himself for a confrontation. "Hold right there!" came the order from another man. Already aiming his rifle at Adams, he stepped out of the shadows. Not eager to die, the Confederate stopped. Before he could utter any words to make his anger known, the man with the shovel, whom he had approached, suddenly turned as white as chalk. Adams was a bit taken aback by the sheer terror the man regarded him with, whilst he bluntly stared. The Union soldier aiming at Adams must have noticed too, for he shot his comrade a questioning glance. But the soldier with the shovel just continued staring. His body even started trembling as the seconds passed. "What is it?" the soldier with the gun asked, somewhat annoyed. Unable to speak clearly, the trembling man just pointed at Adams. In a voice too high-pitched for a man, he managed to screech, "His face! Look at his face!" Adams almost assumed the terrified man might have a heart attack any moment. Thinking it safe to move, Adams touched his face, but there was nothing to be felt. The frantic behavior of his comrade must have worried the Federal, for he turned back to Adams. With examining eyes, the armed soldier looked closer at the Confederate. Slowly, Adams thought to see a similar pallor sneak into the other soldier's face upon straining his eyes. Hectically and out of the blue, he raised his muzzle and took aim at Adams. Before the Confederate could do or say anything that might save his life, a shot rang out. Adams shut his eyes. He expected for his legs to give out, to fall to the ground any minute now, but the pain didn't come. Had the soldier missed in the falling darkness? Adams looked downwards, then behind him, his eyes searching for some bloody stain. The bullet must have struck the ground somewhere close, Adams concluded, relieved. What kind of soldiers were those two, he wondered, being unable to aim properly? The horrified cries of the two men made him turn back to them. But again, his wish to speak to them was denied, for all he saw was a shovel on the ground and two men taking to their heels. Adams only shook his head in his lack of understanding. Not hesitating, he took the shovel and started to find a body he could bury. An unseen obstacle made him topple to the ground. He had stumbled over the legs of some unfortunate comrade. "Apologies, my friend," he uttered, imagining that the dead might still hear him. "I will give you a proper burial." After all, the army would not notice if he came back 1 or 2 days later. The war would not stop and wait for him. Upon dragging the dead body towards the small hole he had dug, it rolled on its back. The sight startled Adams enough to fall backward and remain sitting for a while. Using his rational mind to remember that he must have been imagining things, he got back up. Yet his legs felt heavy as he forced them to walk back to the dead man. He took a long, close look. Now it all made sense to him. The missing hunger, the failed attempt to die. No wonder those two men were scared beyond their senses. On the ground, killed by a gunshot to the head, laid his own body.